Hello everyone, it is October 3rd, a Saturday. Saturdays are good. We're going to do Paradox. It is on Pattern Action Collections because it's not a named technique from the other place specifically, because it's an ancient pattern that's been used forever. So I can show you the step outs. Basically, you go from thin to thick, thin to thick, thin to thick, thin to thick, and you just keep going around in circles until it makes this spiral shape. And you can either do it in a square or you can do it in some other shape. The word shape is what I'm talking about. So if you have them lined up in one way, they create a fan-like shape. And if you have them lined up in another way, they create a spiral-like shape. So depending on which way you go, this one, they're all starting in the same direction. You see that? They start from thin to thick in this corner. And they create this, I don't know if you can see it, but right here creates this spirally shape right there where they connect. Now, if you do it this way, where in one side it goes one way and the other side it goes the other way, then it creates this fan-like shape because of the way they spiral. This one's spiraling this way, this one's spiraling this way, so it creates this fan-like shape. See, here it is where it's going and creates this barrel-like shape. These two start out the same as a square into triangles. That creates the fan shape and that creates the barrel shape. I don't know if you can see that from here, but those are the two basic shapes it creates. I love it. I think it's great. I'm just going to play the way I always play with Paradox. And one of the ways I like to do it is to create random shapes inside my drawing area and do it that way. I am going to draw with a PN pen. So PN pens have a plastic nib and they don't come in sizes, they're just one size. But because I'm doing it on a pre-colored paper, I think that would be wise move. I'm going to just sit down on my chair. I have been standing, but I think today I'm going to sit. Okay, and I'm just going to start drawing, and you guys are just going to watch me draw. That's it. Nothing fancy. It's going to be, I'm going to give myself a border because I don't like going all the way to the edge. So we're just gonna give ourselves a little border. My paper is a little wonky, a little wobbly from the water. That's okay. I could have got out iron and ironed it, but I didn't. And this is going to be, I think, October 2020 Paradox. Might as well sign it first. Why not? Because it doesn't matter. And I'm going to make a random shapes. I'm just going to keep dividing this page until it's in the shapes that I want to use. Some will be kind of square. Some will have more size than others. Some will be bigger, some will be smaller. It's all right. I like to do it like this just to give me some randomness. And then I never know quite which direction my spirals are going to go, if they're going to go fans or spiral. But see, they can be inside any shape. They don't have to be in a square. They don't have to be in a triangle. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. It's okay. This one looks like a triangle, but it actually has 4 sides. All of them will work. So I'm just going to start one place. All I have to remember to do is start thin and go to thicker. And if I end up where it's way too wide, I just draw another line in between. But I try to be about that size. And I turn my page every time. Just go thin to thick. So basically you're drawing little triangles. And while I do this, I am going to get my book and answer a question, I think. Let's do that. If you wonder about this little book, it's one I got from the library. It's called, what was it called again? If. Questions for the Game of Life. It's a couple 100-page book, 100 and something page book. And we're on page 30, so there's lots of questions. We did that one. If you could work for any person in the world, who would it be and what job would you want? Don't know. They always ask me these questions and I don't know the answers. You would think that'd be something that would be just come quick to mind, but nope. Now that it's gotten so small, I'll just do that. Okay, now do you see here is like half the fan right there? Or it's also half the twist. But since I don't have a full space here, it's going to be part one way, part the other, whatever, because they're not going to be lined up exactly. And I really like that. Some people hate it. So, you know, if that's not the way you want to do yours, don't do yours that way. That's cool. But I like it this way. If I could work for any person in the world, who would it be and what would I want to do? Oops, that's a little wide. I'm gonna just go ahead and put an extra line in there. When it's all said and done, you won't know. So my brain wants to ignore that question, and it wants to discuss. I want to know, for those of you who have troubles with paradox, what part of it is the part you struggle with? Is it lining them up? I have a really old video on my channel about paradox because somebody had shown me their sample and I saw what they were doing wrong. They weren't, let me do a quick 2 little samples. Okay, they weren't going thin to thick and then starting here going thin to thick, starting here where they landed going thin to thick. Okay, they weren't doing that. What they were doing was they started and they went thin to thick, but then they went this way, and then they went this way, and then they couldn't figure out why they were having troubles. It's because they did more like this, and they weren't getting the spiral. But that's because they weren't going thin to thick all the way around, like all the way around. Does that make sense? So that might be where you encounter a problem. Also, you've got to make sure you're turning your tile until you're getting the rhythm. If I just start going around, sometimes I goof it up. So like here again as my sample, if I just start going like this and I don't turn my page, sometimes I get really off with spacing. And then it doesn't look right. See, because I didn't turn my tile, it's kind of there, but my spacing is really weird because I didn't turn it and try to be more consistent. Does that make sense? Those are the 2 things that I know. And sometimes people go thick to thin, and that will work, but let me do it one more time. If you go thick to thin like that, then when you turn your tile, oops, I didn't do that very well. Let me try again. If you go thick to thin, then when you turn your tile and you go to thick to thin, you have to try to figure out how far this goes. It's just, for me, very difficult to figure out, so then I have to go thick to thin. To me, that's just harder to draw. I mean, you can do it that way, but just in my brain, that's just way harder than thin to thick. To me, thin to thick, I just tell myself thin to thick, and I turn my page. And that gives me the most consistent line, because I kind of get in the groove and I'm making a similar distance all the way around. Make sure you stop on the line when you get there. Don't continue your line too far. And once it gets to be really tiny, I can go around and not move it quite as much, but I still move it. You see, I still move my page, I just don't go turn it all the way around. But I do move it so that I'm always drawing with my hand kind of going the same direction. So I'm not twisting and make a weird shape. Like that. Now see, that created a spiral because this side, even though this one's longer, this side matched with that kind of. And then this one, let's make a and this one here, let's make a fan out of this one. And we do that by making sure that we're going this way, around the other way. Instead of going clockwise, we'll go counterclockwise with our thin to thick. So thin to thick, and then thin to thick, thin to thick. And it always takes me a minute when I decide to go the other direction to get in my head to go the other direction, because I've done so many going clockwise that counterclockwise gives me a minute for my brain to have to think. My biggest tip, I think, to you guys is to turn your paper. So many people don't want to turn their paper when they draw. I don't understand that. Can it be a pain sometimes? Maybe. But just turn your paper. Make it easy on yourself. Even when you get down to the smaller places where you are now able to do it without turning it all the way, turn it a little bit so that you don't get confused. There. So now that created a fan, and that one created a spiral. I just love how this happens. It's like a magic trick. Let's do fan over here too. And you know it's going to create a fan when you start your next section and you're starting opposite of where you went before. And you see how this has this little spot here? Eventually it will disappear and become a triangle because that's so short. It will just kind of be eaten up into the design, and that's okay. You'll note how I've completely ignored the question of the day, because I don't know. I know there's such a position out there somewhere in the world as fabric designer, but I have no idea who I would work for. I don't even know, but there's got to be somewhere in the world fabric designer, somebody who designs colors and patterns and textures for various fabrics that go, you know, out there in the world. I think that would be just an awesome idea to be able to create a pattern or a color combination. Excuse me. For textiles, wouldn't that be fun? I thought that this would close in on itself sooner, but it didn't today. Sometimes it does. Today it didn't really disappear. That's cool. See, there's another fan. Should we make that one a spiral? Okay, so if I wanted to make this one a fan, I would start with my thin down here and go around this way. So that because the too thick, that thick would be next to that thick. But if I want to make a spiral, I want the thin one here and the thick on this side. right? Right. So I want to go this way. Always going thin to thick. Sorry if you hear the neighbor's dog. It's such a nice day, I've actually got the windows open. Like that. See? Spiral, fan, spiral, fan. Isn't that cool? This one's going to overlap more than one place, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to go this way. I'm going to go clockwise, I think. Ooh, bump my head into the camera. Lovely. Okay, next question. If you could discover one item that belonged to someone in history, whose would it be and what would it be? Oh, we did that question before. Didn't I do that question already? Seems familiar. I thought I did. I thought I wanted to discover a long lost painting of a famous artist. That's cool. Very cool. That came out neat. I like that. Okay. Another question. If you could uninvent one thing in the world so that it would no longer exist, what would you choose? Ooh. I could uninvent something. What would I choose? Wow. That's a really hard question, isn't it? Is there something in your life that was an invented item that you use all the time that just makes your life worse? Coupons. You can tell I work in retail. Coupons is my answer. Wish that nobody had coupons and coupon codes. I wish you just had either the price is the price, the sale is the sale. You either buy it or you don't. Coupons drive me crazy. Because I'm thinking, you know, it just doesn't seem right that if you have found a piece of paper or a code, that you get to have something for cheaper than someone else who doesn't have the access to that code. Like, I will see all the time customers who you have to, like where I am, you have to be a member of the club. Getting membership to the club is free, but you have to have this little card in order to get the sale prices, which is kind of like having a coupon. You have to have it in order to get the sale price. And a lot of stores do that, right? But there are so many times that people don't want to sign up for one reason or another. Either they're in a hurry, or they don't believe in this type of thing for tracking of their purchases. You know, they just don't want to be part of the club, which is cool. But then they have to pay extra for the privilege of opting out of the club. And I don't think that's right. And the same thing with coupons. You know, if the manufacturer is going to put coupons out there and you have to get a newspaper or find online the coupon and print it out and bring it into the store for, let's say, $1 off of their product. But only some people get to get their product for $1 off. Everybody else has to pay regular price. Why don't they just tell the retailers, you know, this week we want you to put our product $1 less, and that's it, and then everybody gets to get it for $1 less instead of just certain people. Yeah, coupons could just go. This whole membership club thing could just go. I'm over it. I mean, I understand it. It's a marketing thing. It's meant to create loyalty. But as a cashier, I just see, you know, it especially seems to hurt the elderly people who don't speak English, and they come into my store and I ask them for their club card and they have no idea what I'm talking about. I ask them if they have one of these cards and I show them the card and they shake their head and they have no idea what I'm talking about. And then I ask them, you know, do you want to sign up for a card? It's free. It gets you your sale prices. No, because they have no idea what I'm saying because they don't understand English. And I feel really badly that I know the item that they have in their hand is on sale and that I'm going to be charging them the full retail price when I could be giving them a sale price, but I'm not allowed to give them the sale price without a club card, and I'm not allowed to use a dummy club card that will get me in trouble. And I've seen people fired for it. So yes, you do get in trouble for using a dummy club card. So I can't do that. But I hate feeling like I'm gouging people, even though I'm not doing it. I've done my job. I've asked if they want the thing, but they don't understand me enough, and that drives me crazy. Anyway, that's my rant for today. Yeah, I would get rid of that club card coupon thing. All of it. I'd get rid of it. Alright, you guys have a great day. There's my paradox. I had fun. I love when I do paradox irregularly. I love how it undulates and it sometimes swirls and sometimes fans, and it just makes me happy. Paradox makes me happy. So for those of you who are struggling, I am so sorry that you're struggling. I wish I could be next to you, sitting side by side with you and guiding you, but this is the best I can do. And hopefully watching me do this encourages you to try again. That's one thing we are going to do, is I'm going to kind of go back and forth between challenges and favorites, so that we're not just doing the things we love, but we're also doing the things that challenge us, because that's how we grow. So tackle those challenging things, and I will see you on the next video. You guys have a great day, and do something nice for someone today, okay? Bye-bye.